Insider drops major Devils trade report as it has been rumored that New Jersey is looking to add more offense, specifically externally. But to bring in more offense, you have to give up some. You'll see what I'm talking about in a second. Welcome in to Devils Digest. Glad that you guys are here today. Always appreciate and love when you guys hit the subscribe button. So if you haven't already, come join us and hit subscribe. So it's a new year, and I hope you guys all had a good New Year's Eve, New Year's Day. But when you hear people talk about New Year's, you hear them talk about change, doing things a little bit different, getting into better habits, doing things that maybe you didn't do in 2025 that you want to do and doing them in 2026. And for the New Jersey Devils, they're in a very similar position. Look, you look at 2025, what was New Jersey's overall record? 38, 37, and 4. One game over 500, and quite frankly, that can't happen if you want to make the playoffs in 2026. There can't be one game over 500. It can't be a really bad second half of the year, and we saw that last year. Last year, second half of the season didn't go very well. So New Jersey's definitely looking to have some change and be a little bit different in 2026. Much better, win-loss record. And when you start talking about that, having more success in the points, having more success with wins, you gotta go ahead and look at your roster and look to make changes there. And Dave Pagnotta came out with something very interesting this morning. The Devils are actively dangling Dawson Mercer in trade talks. New Jersey's hunting a legit top 6 scoring threat to fix the 27th ranked offense. Well, that also has to change. Because you can't be bottom of the league in offense and expect to make the playoffs. But before we get into the rest of this video, a quick message. Before we get to the rest of the news from today, this video is brought to you by Kalshi. Kalshi is the largest prediction market in the US, #1 on their platform. You can trade yes or no on real-life events, sports, elections, pretty much everything. If you're in California, Texas, or anywhere across the country, Kalshi is live in all 50 states. For sports fans, trade on game outcomes, playoff chances, or player performances, all on a regulated market where you can cash out anytime. Looking at the Eastern Conference right now, Carolina, Tampa Bay in the lead right now, where you can trade New Jersey at 9% to win the Eastern Conference Stanley Cup. Colorado historic start 24. Carolina's there again. I like this one, 2% for New Jersey. Go ahead, see what you like. I'm sure you'll see something. It's a smarter way to use your sports or news knowledge, and you can close positions whenever you want. Download Kalshi with the link in the description and use code DIGESTNHL, DIGESTNHL, DIGESTNHL to get $20 when you trade 100. So looking at Dawson Mercer's numbers this year, 40 games played, 10 goals, 14 assists. He's on pace for 48 points. And what's interesting about Dawson Mercer's numbers this year, and I'm going to talk about, his totals at the end of the year, it's very similar to how his career's gone. Look, we remember the start of this year. Dawson Mercer, Timo, Meier, Nico, Hischier. You couldn't break that line up. It was one of the best lines in hockey. It was certainly the Devils' best line. It was a great line. They won 8 games in a row. You couldn't break that line up until you had to. Because all of a sudden, the Devils started getting injured. They didn't, during the offseason, they didn't get any depth centers. So what did they have to do? Well, they had to move Dawson Mercer over to center. So Dawson Mercer moves over to center, and all of a sudden, you start getting stat lines like this. Dawson Mercer right now, 1 goal in his last 20 games. No goals in his last 15. 4 points in the month of December. So look at the beginning of the year. The beginning of the year was going for Dawson Mercer. He was on a top line in the league. He was scoring. Then an 8-game win streak. Looked really good. 9 goals in his first 20 games. He's got one in his last 20. So all of a sudden, you look at these 2 halves of the season, and you go, what happened? Well, yeah, he did go over to center. But you look at Dawson Mercer's career numbers, what he's done over his career. Well, it's a little bit similar. First 2 years makes the NHL young. He wasn't projected to make the NHL early. He did. First round pick, 42 points, 82 games. Really nice rookie year. Year number 2, he just levels it up a notch. 27 goals, almost hits 30, 56 points, 82 games. And all of a sudden, you're talking to yourself and you go, wow, you know what, Devils, they got to steal. I mean, this looks like a steal draft pick. He makes the NHL early. He played first year 42 points. Year 2 almost hits 30. Then all of a sudden you go to year 3, and it was a little bit of a down year. You know, he still hit that 20 goal mark. You still are happy about that. But I mean, the numbers, well, it's a little bit of a drop off. 56 points is 33. Rookie year at 42. Then the year after that, I mean, 36 points, 19 goals, 17 assists. You're expecting him to get a lot more to what he was year 2, and it wasn't anything like that. It was more so what you saw in year 3. And from what we're seeing this season, and the split, for the first 20 games, you had 9 goals. You had a player who looked like, you know, he's going to go back and hit that 30-goal mark. And now you're starting to see, well, he's got 1 goal in his last 20. He hasn't scored in his last 15. And all of a sudden you're going, well, you know, this is 2 halves of his career. So I think what you're saying to yourself, if you're Tom Fitzgerald and he's out there in rumors, how do you sell Dawson Mercer? You know, how do you sell him as this player who's hit 20 goals twice before the age of 24? It's almost hit 30. How do you sell that one? Or do GMs look at it and they go, well, you know what? First 2 years looked really good. But since then, it's been kind of going in the wrong direction. He's been more of that, you know, a 30-point player. Hits 20 goals, but he doesn't really look like he's got that 30 goals in him. So when you start looking at it like that, how do you sell Dawson Mercer? Now, would I sell Dawson Mercer? No. Look, I was very vocal about the beginning of the year. I didn't want to put him into Quinn Hughes and Quinn Hughes trade. I wanted to stay away from Dawson Mercer. Now, obviously, he pretty much got put into it, or his name was around that. But I wanted to stay away from it. But when you're looking at New Jersey and how their team's built, and how the contracts are designed, well, he's kind of the most movable. Because you look at what he doesn't have that 14 other players on New Jersey have, he doesn't have a no-trade clause. You know, Tom Fitzgerald doesn't have to go ahead and ask, you know, Dawson Mercer, hey, do you want to go here? You know, well, which place works for me? What works for you? Let me know. He doesn't have to do that with Dawson Mercer. With Dawson Mercer, he can go, well, we need to get another forward. We need top 6 scoring. I got a player who's got relatively good numbers, relatively young, has hit 20 goals 2 times before the age of 24. Good contract. I mean, that's what he's saying about Dawson Mercer. So Dawson Mercer all of a sudden becomes expendable because of what New Jersey's cap situation looks like. And the fact that they do need more offense in the top 6. I didn't want to have to move off of Dawson Mercer. But when you're looking at it, all of a sudden, I mean, there's only so many options you have. And the Devils do have to make a trade. They do have to add somebody into that top 6. And all of a sudden, you look at it, and, well, Dawson Mercer, I mean, there's value there for sure. And you need to bring in some value back. I mean, the other day I mentioned Jordan Kyrou. I mean, Jordan Kyrou, this is a guy who scores 30 every single year. I mean, he's one of the best finishers in the NHL. He come to one of the worst finishing teams in the NHL. So if you can get a player like Jordan Kyrou, you definitely think about it. Let me know what you think down in the comments, though. Would you move off Dawson Mercer? Do you think it's time? Do you think the Devils could get a good trade? Let me know down in the comments. Throw in some mock trades if you'd like. Let me know down in the comments, and I'll see you guys all really soon.